I am Neil Larthos. I am the next Abdullah. You're the next Neville Goddard. Your SP gets wet every single time they think of you, and your bank account makes Jeff Bezos look homeless. If you guys want to work with me, the links are in the description, and subscribe for daily manifestation content. SP crawls to you. Don't check the 3D. If you do a technique and then wait for a sign and say, where are they? This isn't working. How long will this take? That is the same exact thing as you doing a sat session before bed, imagining doing techniques and your SP blocking your number, and instead of going to your house and saying, I love you, you're the answer to my happiness, she moves to Brazil and she marries the fucking president over there. It's exactly like you having a sat session where you're saying, I wonder what it would feel like to never have SP. That's exactly what you guys are doing when you say, where is it? When you check the 3D, when you keep refreshing that Instagram profile and wondering why it still says this page is not available. Guys, the 3D is over. Get over it. This is enough. Okay? You should already by now know that what you see right now in front of you, it's over. It's game over, guys. Okay? It's done. It's no more. What you are seeing right now is old story. Okay? Like, we have a new Spider-Man movie coming out, right? July 31st. As a matter of fact, I'm making this video on, what's today? March 17th, okay? But when you see this video, I think you're going to see it in fucking May 9th, okay? Because I make my videos months in advance, okay? So by then, I might already be the president of Zimbabwe, right? So we'll see, God willing. But look, there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out. When we watch that movie, it's going to be brand new. The fucking movie's called Brand New Day, right? But it was a movie that was filmed last year, right? So if you really think about it, even when it came to like innovative experimental movies that tried things that we've never seen before on the big screen, if it came out in 1965, but it was filmed and it took forever to be finished, and they started making it back in 1957, then guess what? By the time it comes out, the director probably had regrets of what he put on the fucking screen. Because now, as he slept on it, after the production team took forever to finally get the ball rolling and put it in theaters, he's like, shit, on second thought, you know, I should have shot it from the angle, you know, from the floor. I should have done a bird's eye view. I should have made Sally, you know, have a nude scene. I don't know. They had regrets. Why? Because with time, things change, right? And you see, that is the way I want you to look at the 3D, okay? You do a technique right now, okay? You are setting that up for what is perceived to you as the future, something to be manifested in the future. But what you're really not understanding is that if you keep seeing time the way you have been taught by society to understand it, then you will never get your SP, because you're going to continue to confuse yourself, and you're going to continue to say, well, if a manifestation coach says manifestation is instant and I can have my SP right now, then why is it that I said robotic affirmations all fucking month and she blocked me. She still has yet to send me a text. I went up to her fucking house and she gave me a restraining order. Well, because you are still interacting with an old version of herself that hasn't died yet. Okay? There are millions of versions of your SP. There's millions of versions of you. There's versions of you who are the president. There's versions of you who is a freaking adult film star. Okay, there's versions of you who can do backflips and is the leading scorer in the NBA. Right? There is multiple versions of you. Your job is simply to do whatever technique you're going to do, whether it's self-pedestalizations, whether it's imaginal act, whether it's inner conversations, whether it's just deciding who you are. Your main goal is to understand that whatever you give yourself internally, not externally, but internally, not you trying to manipulate the 3D and go to her house and try to serenade her with the boombox. No, whatever you give yourself internally has already happened. It's done. And the way you have to live life is the same way that the Bible says we are sojourners of this world, but we are not of this world. Okay? Something like that. Basically saying a sojourner is someone who was captive. They were using it as an example for when the Israelites were captured, by the Egyptians when they were in captivity, when they were slaves to Egypt, right? But Moses was the one who, by God's power, helped take them out of slavery. And Israel was called the people of God, right? And so when they were with Egypt at that time, though they were children of God and though they knew that they were promised a land based on the scriptures of Abraham, they still had a duty to do, and they had to follow their leaders. They had to still follow the rules of their captors. Otherwise, they would be killed, right? And it's the same thing right here. I'm not telling you to quit your job when you go to that imaginal act and see yourself as a millionaire. I'm not telling you to go blow up her phone if she has you blocked, or to tell him, no, you're no longer married to Susie. I'm your bitch. I'm not telling you to do that. No, you obey the version that is reflecting the old identity, the version of them that you don't want. You go along with it, right? Like Robert Greene says, you play dumb. You're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. But internally, you know how the movie ends, okay? You do what you got to do. And if you're like, well, I don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, go on autopilot. It doesn't matter what you do. The issue is when you start forcing actions and you start saying, should I do this? Should I do that? And when you are thinking consciously, okay, I did this imaginal act. Now what is the next step I have to do? You are already thinking from the version who doesn't have your SP, because look at what you just said. Okay, what do I do now? What do you mean? What do you do now to do what? Well, to get my SP, Neil. Well, don't you already have your SP? Yeah. Then what the fuck why are you saying you have to do something? Don't you get it, guys? You literally can just fucking be on the toilet, taking a shit, and just simply think of holding your SP's hand, engagement rings on both of y'all's fingers, and then you have like the worst diarrhea of your life. You go eat some more Taco Bell, and then you go to bed and you forget all about it. You could go months just focusing on college tests or on working at the welding fucking factory, and you might have forgotten all about that little imagery that you had while you're taking a shit after the Taco Bell. But because you detached from it and you just moved on with whatever life had in front of you, not denying it, not fighting with it, not trying to manipulate anything in the 3D, guess what? You end up getting a knock on the door, She wants to fuck. One thing leads to another. You guys are getting serious now. And then here comes the bride. Here comes the bride. They're playing the organ. And little did you know, you manifested that just from 2 steak quesadillas, no creamy jalapeno sauce. But when you do the imaginal act, and you're like, okay, well, tomorrow I got to make sure I do my sats. I got to do this. I got to do that. And fuck, hopefully I don't fuck this up. Look, the only job that us manifestation coaches have is to remind yourself of your power. And to remind yourself that yes, there are techniques to keep you in the 3D. But in reality, the only reason why people need coaches is because the 3D continues to do one thing. And what is that? It shows us something that is complete opposite of what we want, and we have no other choice but to endure the emotion that comes along with that, which is typically anxiety, which is typically pain, loneliness. And instead of understanding that all we have to do is just embrace that anxiety, just like sojourners, just like the Israelites embraced the slavery, knowing that eventually they were going to get out of that slavery, it's the same thing. You just embrace the ride. You're like, oh shit, that hurts. Ow. 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 Who gives a fuck? You're bulletproof, motherfucker. You're a God. You are not limited by the mind or the body. You take whatever bullets are shot your way. You take whatever the 3D shows you, knowing that even if you only did one technique and it was on top of the toilet bowl after some Waffle House, I'm telling you, even a simple kiss, and if to you in your head, if that implies that you guys are married, then that's all it takes. Manifestation is not about how good your imaginal act is or how powerful your affirmation is. The only reason why I sponsor such powerful affirmations is because I know a lot of you guys cannot handle the 3D, and self-pedestalizations really help you do that because it shifts you to the state. But even this whole talk of shifting states, okay? Your SP is with the person who is not putting them on the pedestal, who doesn't want them so bad. Because a person who actually wants someone so bad and is really needy does not want them. They want to have a void filled. They want to be babied. They want to be nurtured. Not in a way that is fun to the other person. Because the other person knows that there's something wrong with you when you love them a little too much when they don't feel the same way. They know that that's not coming from a place of truth. That's coming from a place of a issue within that person themselves. And they might not know that consciously, but it's the reason why we lose interest in something that comes too easy. Because something's off. It's not clicking. This is not the way things are supposed to go. This is just not natural. And any of you guys who say you've fallen in love with someone who is clingy, needy, and just always just all over you and doesn't let you breathe, you're lying to yourself. Well, you got to understand one thing. Whether you're telling yourself things in your head, oh, SP doesn't want anything to do with me, they hate me, or whether you're just checking the 3D and refreshing their social media page. They hear everything. And again, I'm not saying they actually can fucking tell what you're literally saying right now in this moment. And if you're thinking about fucking, I don't know, shrimp on the barbecue, they're not gonna say, oh wow, what a fat ass, he cannot stop fucking thinking about food all the time. I don't mean that, but what I mean is if you're thinking nothing but shit about yourself, they will only, whenever there's the option of should I think highly of this person or should I say, I don't really care too much to think about them right now, I'm busy, I want to focus on other things, they're going to want to focus on other things. But when you start building yourself up and saying they have life-size posters of me that they pray and bow down to every single night, and you start telling yourself that, I don't even need an SP, I'm the most amazing person here, okay? Everybody worships me. People lay things at my altar as a sacrifice just to show their honor and worship towards me. I'm the best who ever fucking worked in this organization that I have as a career. I'm the Lionel Messi of this motherfucker. When you start building yourself up and it's not all about SP, guess what? They might not hear the exact word. Oh, he said they're sacrificing things on his altar. What the fuck? He's a narcissist. No, but for some reason, when they're watching a show and they hear your name and they're like, huh, instead of saying, who gives a fuck about that guy, they start thinking about you. Like, huh, it's weird, but I just all of a sudden started thinking about him. Little do they know, it's because you over here boosting your balls miles and miles away from them. That's how thought transmission works. So that's why you think that you're in no contact. You think that you're not doing anything, but you are the moment that you decide the reality that you're in. So decide the reality that you're in. Are you going to decide that it's the 3D, or are you going to decide that it's the 4D? You make up your mind. But if you need somebody to hold your hand and guide you through that process, guys, there's nobody who explains it better than me. I'm the best motherfucking manifestation coach out there. I am Neil Lartos. This is all that the I Am Awareness had to say. I know you're going to be okay.